guys, welcome back. Today for your notes, this is Tuesday, so this is notes 1-8, so today's date is the 10th. Okay, if you'll just flip to that page, we're going to write down the steps and then do a few examples together, and then you have your practice sheet afterwards. So the first thing you're going to do, just like how we did yesterday, is distribute, and that's if there's parentheses. If there's no parentheses, we're not distributing. So remember, distribute just means you're multiplying. For 2, we're going to combine like terms, just like what we did yesterday. Now, this is our new step today, step 3. You're going to move the smaller variable. Okay, and you're going to do this by add or subtract. All right? And then the last 2 steps are the exact same as yesterday, add, subtract, constant. And remember, constant's the number by itself on the letter side. And then multiply or divide by coefficient. And coefficient's the number with the variable. Okay, so again, as I do my examples, I'm going to go through this as a checklist. So first thing I'm going to do again, draw those bars. Step 1 says distribute. I have no parentheses. Skip it. Step 2 says to combine. So I look at the left side. Those 2 things cannot combine. So I look at the right side. Those 2 things cannot combine. So now I move to step 3, which is our new step. Move the smaller variable. Well, I have a 5y and I have a 3y. So when I look to see which one is smaller, that's the 3. So I'm going to subtract 3y. That cancels there. 5y minus 3y is 2y. Bring down minus 8 equals, and all I have left over here is 12. This is now just a 2-step problem, so I'm going to work with adding or subtracting the constant. Well, the constant is a minus 8, so I need to add 8. That gives me 2y equals 20. And then to finish the problem, I multiply or divide by the coefficient. Since the problem's multiplying, I must divide, and I get y equals 10. Now I'm going to show you the check again, and I'll show it to you on 1 and 4. And then if you choose to do it, that's your call. Okay, so from here, the check, we're going to do 5, but instead of y, we're going to open parentheses, and that gives me 10 minus 8. And I'm going to hit enter. Then I have to come to this side and do the same thing. 3, open parentheses, 10 plus 12. If my answers are the same, then I'm good. So the check's a little bit different today. Okay, moving to example 2, drawing my bars. The first thing I'm going to do is look to see if I can distribute. That means parentheses. I have no parentheses in this problem, so therefore I skip distribute. Now I look at combine like terms. Okay, on the left side, I don't have anything to combine. On the right side, those 2 things won't go together. So therefore, I'm going to move the smaller variable. Well, I have a 7k and a 3k, so 3k is smaller, so I'm going to subtract it. We just do the opposite. So I subtract 3k. 7k minus 3k would give me a 4k, and it equals negative 36. Okay, I don't have an add or subtract constant. There's no plus or minus over here. So I'm going to skip step 4 and move to step 5. Since these are touching, that means I'm multiplying, so I must divide by 4. And that will give me negative 9. Now, y'all can do the plug-in like I just showed you, and you can check it yourself. And that's a great tool to do for your worksheet while you're working, especially since I'm not here. Okay, so for 3, all right, I have 11 minus m equals 51 minus 6m. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is check for distribute. I have no parentheses, so I'm not distributing. Okay, look on the left side to combine. Those 2 things won't go together. So look on the right side to combine. Those 2 things won't go together. So now I'm on step 3, which is move the smaller variable. Well, the smaller variable, I have a negative 1 and a negative 6. negative 6 is actually smaller, so I'm going to do the opposite and add 6. Okay, it'll cancel on the right. That leaves me with 11, and a negative 1 and a positive 6 make positive 5m, and it equals 51. From here, I'm just going to subtract 11. This gives me 5m equals 40. I now just divide by 5, and m equals 8. Okay. For example 4, I'm going to show you the check on 4 once we get our answer. Step 1 says to distribute. First, well, I have parentheses, so I take the number directly touching that first parenthesis. So 3 times 6p is 18p, and 3 times negative 1 is a negative 3. I bring down equals 11p minus 45. From here, I combine like terms, so I look at the left side. Those two things will not combine. I look at the right side. Those two things will not combine. So now I move to moving the smaller variable. I have an 18 and an 11. 11 is smaller, so I'm going to do the opposite and subtract it since it's positive. 18 minus 11 gives me 7p. I keep minus 3 equals negative 45. From here, I'm at add or subtract the constant. Well, the constant is minus 3, so I need to add 3. That gives me 7p equals negative 42. Once I add, I divide by 7, and I get p equals negative 6. Okay, so I told you I would show you the check on this one. So in your calculator, you're going to do 3, open parentheses, 6, open parentheses. But instead of p, we put negative 6 close, minus 1. I'm going to hit enter and get my answer. And then I'm going to do the other side. 11, open parentheses, negative 6, minus 45. If I don't get the exact same answer, which I did, then you've done something wrong. Okay, the last example. Okay, step 1 says to distribute. Well, the number directly in front of this parentheses is a negative 1. So negative 1 times x is negative 1x, and negative 1 times negative 18 is a positive 18. And then I just bring down 5x, bring down my equals. On this side, the number directly in front of the parentheses is negative 2. So negative 2 times x is negative 2x, and negative 2 times 15 is negative 30. And then I bring down the 6 because I haven't done anything with it. Step 2 is combine. So if I look at just the left side, my x's can go together, and my 18 is by itself. So a 5x and a negative 1x make a 4x plus 18. Over here on the right side now, my coefficients can go together. Not my coefficients, my constants can go together, and the negative 2x stays by itself. So I'm going to bring down negative 2x, and this gives me, when I add 6 and negative 30, that gives me negative 24. Put my equals back in between. Now I'm on step 3, which is move the smaller variable. I have a 4 and a negative 2. Negative 2 is smaller, so I do the opposite, which is add it. 4 plus 2 will give me a 6x. I keep plus 18 equals, and all I have left over on this side is negative 24. So from here, step 4, add or subtract the constant. Well, the constant's the number by itself on the letter side, so I'm going to subtract 18 since it's a plus 18. That gives me 6x equals negative 42. And then from here, my last step, multiply or divide by the coefficient, and that gives me 6. I'm going to divide by 6, so x equals negative 7. And then you can take that and plug that back in. Now, I noticed I misspelled a word, so I'm going to move back up and spell this right, D-I-V-I-D-E. So if you have questions, remember, I'm not here, so do the best that you can do. Show your work. You're going to keep this in your folder, and we're going to look at it when I get back.